You are watching Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a look at the leading top stories. First up, government has pushed the deadline for Spaza shop registration to the 28th of February 2025, and Hare-Iphahamise and ADL celebrating the completion of the Kanana New Police Station. In the business news, the National Commission has announced the proposal for the national minimum wage, and in the sports news, Corbin Bosch has been called up to the Proteas squad for the Test series against Pakistan. We begin here. The government has extended the deadline for all Spaza shop owners and other food handling facilities to register their businesses to the 28th of February 2025. This after President Cyril Ramaphosa's original 21-day deadline ended on Tuesday. The government has more work to do to ensure the sector is properly regulated and adheres to health regulation. This according to Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velenkosi Hlabisa, who announced.
It's thousands of businesses registered, licensed through municipalities. The only thing is that the Spaza shops and small food handling activities remained informal and not regulated. I think, therefore, if you can compare how many businesses in South Africa are registered, you will clearly conclude that it is a more number than the Spaza shops. So the capacity of our municipalities is there, they will, and the extended time that is given must be sufficient. That is why we make a call that people must not start today and say this extension is not enough. You will hear them. From here, they will say, oh, no. End of February is still not enough. Then, having not done anything, if you want, those who have registered, some will tell you, it only took me 3 hours. And I was done because I came with all the documentation. Now, capacity is there. All people need to do, bring all your documents so that you do not take longer time before you are being registered.
Hlabisa also said that registration ensures that all Spaza shops meet the minimum standards regardless of their past operations.
In consideration whether or not to extend the registration deadline, the government considers its commitment to supporting small businesses, prioritizing health and safety, ensuring inclusivity and fairness, and maintaining its integrity. The municipal processes of adopting and adapting the bylaws as gazetted by Minister of Culture on the 7th of November 2024 are highly regulated and need a lot of consultation to complete. Nevertheless, a lot of work has been done over the 21 days of registration period, and as a result, the following has been achieved. Throughout South Africa, 392 registration centers were established in all 9 provinces. And 42,915 applications were received between 15 November and yesterday to be processed for people applying to operate Spaza shops and other food handling outlets. Out of the 49,915 applications, 19,385 has been approved. We regard this as a considerable progress over a period of 21 days, and a breakdown is going to be shared with the media in terms of each province, how many centers of registration, how many applications were received and how many were approved per each province, as I want to indicate that 19,386 applications have been approved. Noting the progress of work done above, in consultation with the President, therefore, the government has resolved to extend the registration deadline for all Spaza shops and other food handling outlets to 28 February 2025. Prior to the revised deadline of 28 February 2025, the government in all its spheres will continue to implement the action plan to address the crisis of foodborne illnesses and the illicit trade of goods across the country.
In other news, after tribulations and effort, the new Kanana Police Station building has been completed, built by skilled contractors ADL and Hare-Iphahamise companies. Now, Matshepo Maimani is a young lady from the dusty streets of Kanana, and her business partner Sam Muswang made this happen. Here's the CEO.
Sam Muswang, ke CEO mo company ene ya Hare-Iphahamise. Re qadile project ena mo selemong se fetileng, and then re ntse re pusha jwale sentse fedile. Tonight le re celebrate re leboha basebetsi, re leboha bohle ba bileng le rona ba re thusitseng hore project ena e fihle maphethelong. Re feditse, re ntse mosebetsi o motle, bile re hostile basebetsi kaofela. Re a leboha bohle ba re supportileng mo di challenges tse re fitileng mo tsona ha ne re etsa project ena. Re a leboha bohle, re leboha bathekgi ba rona bohle, re leboha keteledipele ya Hare-Iphahamise di director kaofela. Re lebohile haholo. Re a leboha.
Now, Matshepo Maimani, who's the director, said that it was not easy but worth it. And behind all this, her father and her brother Thabo from the family showed support from the beginning financially and their contribution until today. Here's what they had to say.
Buhiba Platinum Northwest TV. Kalibitso ki Confidence Matshepo Maimani, a director from Hare-Iphahamise Trading. The purpose of this event is that we are celebrating the completion of the construction in Kanana for building Kanana Police Station. And we are happy that we managed to work with most SMMEs in Kanana. Even general workers assisted very well. So the reason why we are celebrating here is because we have achieved our goal. In so saying that, I would love to thank everyone that has contributed in the project, and we hope that our journey will continue even in other projects. I really thank Platinum Northwest TV because it has been with us, even though things did not go well, but they were with us. So we would love to say to you guys, thank you very much for being here with us. Just that occurred when the gangsters demanded money from the company, when they demanded 30% in cash. But because the station commander intervened, they did not make it in terms of abusing me. And other challenges that I faced was when the main contractor would take some of my trades without consulting me. But other than that, I learned a lot. I can't say I learned a lot. All I would love to say is thank you. The skills that I have now, I can't complain more. I really thank you.
Matata re bileng lona a bile teng jwalo ka e le hore bophelong ntho nngwe le nngwe o e qalang o ba le mathata Matshepo a bileng lona ko qala business ho sna lekeno le re nang le lona empa hodima tseo tsohle re nnile ra etsa mekutu yotlhe gore seo re nang le sona re mo fe sona gore a tla qale business. Empa seno re a bona gore o nana le sebete sa gore tseo tsotlhe a ka di fitlhella gobane ka dinako tsotlhe o ne a itshepetse Modimo, mme ka metlha o tshepile Modimo tsotlhe di a loka gobane le nna ne ke bona gore ga re na tšhelete mare sena sa se labalabelang bophelong ke bokamoso ba gae, mme go ne sena gore a ka khutlela morago bane ga a khutlela morago go ne sena gore lebaka le la batlang go etsa le ka tswela pele. Ke leboa batho botlhe ba nkileng karolo gore ba mo kadime ditšhelete le ena motswadi wa mmae a batle dibaka mo a ka fumanang tšhelete gore a mo thuse, mme ke rata sebete sa hae, ga rata ntho tsena tsotlhe. O nana le sebete sa gore a ba le mamelo ya gore qetelong ya fetsa mosebetsi ona o tla o fetsa, mme jwale ka seno ke lakatsa gore e se ka ba ka jeno lena fela dinthong tsotlhe a tsebe gore Modimo ke ena moetsi le moetsi wa dintho tsotlhe, mme le ena ha mo tshepile ka dinako tsotlhe ebile a mamela a hlompha batho dintho di ba bonolo gobane ha o kopa thuso go bona ba o thusa. Ke ka gona ke reng ka dinako tsotlhe ke qalego ya bophelo ba hae, mme e mo rutile gore bophelong nthong ya e etsang a be le mamello, a be le sebete, a tshepe Modimo. Ka bokgutshwanyane ke di-challenge tse re bileng le tsona gobane nnete wa utlwisisa ba bang batho ha o nkile tšhelete ao ne re sa lebelela gore a ka kgona go di kgutlisa. So ke a leboga ha Modimo a tsamaile le ena go fitlhela a qeta project e.
This is Thabo Maimane, Matsapa's brother. In terms of the building of the police station, I've been there since inception up until it was completed. Through all the challenges the Matsapa bileng le tsona as a family ne re na le ena in terms of mogaeda, financial boost, everything in terms of matsapa a mosebetsi ne re le teng re mo thusa. It was not easy, but eventually o kgonne o fumana tlholo, and then that e re entse proud as a family. We are very proud of her, especially her being a woman. I started a project from scratch until Abaloy Faith with those challenges.
Colonel Silihelo, the station commander of the Kanana Police Station, had this to say.
The family of my man and everybody that is here. Today, something. When a project of this nature comes to Kanana, everybody called himself an SMME. And we have to define what is an SMME. Everybody who took the qualifications, but there were certain standards put in front of all the SMMEs, which was said, you don't just come open-ended. You must bring paper to prove for when you are a builder, you are a carpenter, you are a what. Now with that, it creates a serious problem. Now all those SMMEs was looking for a job, but not job, but looking for money. And they even divided the main contractor too, but we have to stand in between and say, and explain things that we do not know. Some of the stages I was explaining things I don't know about building, but I wanted peace to prevail. I had to stand in between. But after talking to both the SMMEs and the contractors, I'm a bad person. After speaking to both the contractor and the main contractor, I'm still a bad person, but saying, please God, give us strength to talk to these people so that they must understand. I'm happy today the police station is built. One day I was saying to Matsepo and said to the members of Kanana, and I was saying to them, somebody who must catch up with stress in this building, the small one, police station, it's me.
Because I come from Orkney in a big police station where I was station command. I come from Stelfontein in a big police station where I was sitting in 3 offices in one. But now I'm sitting in a small home. But thank you, Matsepo, thank you, Semito. Today, we will be taking photos, myself will be taking photos, and Lameni will join me, taking photos and show the people of Kanana we have a police station now. Our duty is to serve the community of Kanana. Thank you very much, people. It is very difficult to be saying serving the community of Kanana. All of you do know where you come from. You come from the period of the gangsters. You came there and you throw all the knives away. When I bought myself a knife or kapi, then you throw them away, then you start shooting one another. But by the grace of God, all of us are still alive. Thank you very much.
Now, the police station had many structures, stakeholders and material supplies. Solomzi speaks on behalf of the supplies.
Kina David Solomzi Nkashele, ke company ya Two Cousins. Le nna ko mo nkileng karolo go ka aha police station ya Kanana, ke ile ka fuwa mesebetsinyana e mengatanyana including wa plastering, lo installa menyako, lo cascade floor. Ke ile ka ba le contribution e ntle haholo, ke sebetsa ka tlasa Usmatshepo.
And lastly, the contribution to the community. Here's Ndate Mapentane and Sam, who had this to say.
Dibonga iPlatinum TV. Umsebenzi okwamathepho. Sinethemba ngoku. iKanana seyinyukile iphezulu. Ngenxa kamathepho. TV ndifuna ndigcwala kuyo yonke indawo. Mna ndingu-Elias Mathiso Fani. Ndiyajabula mna, ndijabulile. Yeah, police station from Kanana. I from Jobitina, from Kanana. Jobitina. Read Benda, ndisasasa. Abasirobhe bakhona kodwa mara bekho kodwa bemena jealous kodwa no sinyukelo siphezulu. Thixo uNkulunkulu khona. Sinamandla, Sathana simthatha samlahlela kude. Ayi! Viva Matshepo, viva! Viva Tshepo!
Babuhi lapeng ya bua mona ke Samuel Senet Mabele. Mole Philip Molau, Philip Kumalo. Ke me mona boemong ba basebetsi mo le nna Hare-Iphahamise company e le gore re la ka ba le mathata mangata a ntse re le tshebetsong ya ho aha police station ya Kanana. Go fitlhela ka jeno re leboha hape setjhaba ka ho se tsebisa hore re qetile ebile mosebetsi o phethahetse. Re le mona re moketeng wa dina dijo tsa bosiu bontsha hore re keteka matla le mosebetsi o etsahetseng. Re leboha le hore isa hape mafaratlhatlheng ho hlahisa ditletlebo tsa rona mo e leng gore ra kgona hore re qete sa hlole re ba le ditshitiso ka leboha.
Moving on to international news now, Ghana Supreme Court on Wednesday paved the way for a contested bill severely controlling the LGBTQ rights to become law after rejecting 2 bids to overturn it. Lawmakers approved the Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill in February, drawing international condemnation despite gaining wide public support in the conservative West African country. The proposed anti-LGBTQ legislation is considered among the most stringent in Africa, stipulating jail terms for up to 3 years engaging in same-sex relationship and up to 5 years for promoting or sponsoring LGBTQ activities. The bill will only become law after being ratified by the outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo or his successor John Mahama. Now Akufo-Addo, who officially steps down on the 7th of January after 2 terms in office, has not yet announced his decision. Opposition leader Mahama, who won the December 7th election, voiced support for the anti-LGBTQ bill during the electoral campaign. Gay sex is already illegal in the religious, mostly Christian nation, but while discrimination against the LGBTQ people is common, no one has ever been prosecuted under the colonial-era law. LGBTQ rights campaigners voiced fear and disappointment over this decision. And with that, let's take a look now at the business news. In the business news, the National Minimum Wage Commission has announced the proposal for the national minimum wage. Now, departmental spokesperson for Employment and Labour elaborates with more on this.
The National Minimum Wage Commission has announced the proposal for the national minimum wage following its recent invitation for written representations on potential adjustments to South Africa's national minimum wage for 2025. Today, the 18th of December 2024, the National Minimum Wage Commission published a report in the Government Gazette outlining its recommendations for the annual review of the national minimum wage. The report also invites public to submit written representations. The Consumer Price Index, which measures changes in the prices paid by consumers for goods and services over time, is a key factor in these considerations. As of November 2024, South Africa's CPI stood at 2.9%, a slight increase from 2.8% in October 2024. It is also important to take note that the rate of inflation that will be implemented will be the inflation rate 6 weeks prior to the 1st of March, namely December CPI published in January, which is the date that the new national minimum wage comes into effect. This latest call for inputs follows a similar request made in August 2024. The process is conducted in accordance with Section 6.2 of the National Minimum Wage Act number 9 of 2018. The Commission includes representatives from organized labor, business, community, and experts in labor market and employment conditions. Under the National Minimum Wage Act, the Commission is responsible for annually reviewing and recommending adjustments to the national minimum wage. It also investigates and reports annually to the Minister on the impact of the national minimum wage on the economy, collective bargaining, and income differentials, making this information available to the public. Previous recommendations are as follows. As of 2024, the national minimum wage in South Africa is 27 rand 58 cents per hour. This rate is applicable to all workers, including farm workers and domestic workers. However, workers employed under the Expanded Public Works Program have a minimum wage of 15 rand 16 cents per hour. The minimum wage represents the lowest remuneration that employers are legally permitted to pay their employees for each ordinary hour worked. It is illegal for employers to pay their employees less than this minimum threshold. The Commission considers several factors in its annual adjustments of the minimum wage. This includes inflation, the cost of living, and the need to maintain the value of the minimum wage, wage levels, and outcomes of collective bargains, gross-domestic product, the ability of employers to sustain their businesses, the operation of small, medium, or micro enterprises and new enterprises, and the impact on employment or job creation. The Employment and Labour Minister will announce the new rate of adjustment in February 2025, which will take effect from 1st March 2025. Requests for inputs should reach the Directorate Employment Standards, the Department of Employment and Labour, Private Bag, X117, Pretoria 0001, or be sent to nmw@labour.gov.za. The public has until the 14th of January 2025 to make their written representation.
And that's all from the business news. Up next, we get the very latest in the sports. In cricket news, Titans seam bowler Corbin Bosch has earned his maiden call-up to the Proteas test squad, with head coach Shukri Conrad announcing a 16-man group for the two-match series against Pakistan starting next week. Bosch recently featured in the SA Invitational side that defeated England Lions in Cape Town. The squad also includes uncapped teenager Kanana New, who was part of the squad for the recent test against Sri Lanka, while all-rounder Vian Mulder retains his place as he completes the final phase of his recovery from a fractured right middle finger, which kept him out of the second test against Sri Lanka. Regular captain Temba Bavuma will lead the side in what marks the final test series of the summer and the ICC World Test Champion 2023 to 2025 cycle, where South Africa currently occupy the top spot. Moving on to boxing news, Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture Gayton McKenzie will announce the new Boxing South Africa board on Friday and promises that they will take the sport to the next level. McKenzie revealed this to the media on the sidelines of an announcement of the Formula One bid steering committee members in Kyalami yesterday. Rendani Mabawa, CEO at SuperSport, who's part of the F1's bid committee, had this to say.
And we are now at the announcement with the F1 bid committee has been announced, and I think credit has to go to the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture in terms of what they have achieved just by getting us to this point. The minister likes this line. He keeps saying that we've gone to the altar twice but we've not gotten married in terms of our engagement with F1. So this is quite exciting. It also might feel very mundane. Yeah, it might feel very mundane, but I think it's quite needed in terms of the landscape of where we are. You don't want to go a third time to the altar and then you don't get married. So I think that's almost the objective of the LOC. It's going to be to make sure that this time around we have all our ducks in a row. We've made sure that all of the processes are in place. F1 has already communicated that they would like a long-term deal and they're not looking for a once-off flashy or not sustainable race in Africa. So those engagements are well underway, but I think the purpose of the LOC is to make sure that we can add a bit of structure and sustainability, and to make sure that this vision can be a vision that lives throughout into the future, 5 years possibly, hopefully, and then you won't have to go through this process again, right? So yeah, I think that in a nutshell is the purpose of the LOC, and again, credit has to go to the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, and to Minister Gayton McKenzie himself. It's challenging to go into a space that could be very cluttered and noisy, but the way he's almost simplified that and added structure and clear timelines and next steps, and how he's taking the country along on the journey, right? If he goes to Qatar, wherever he travels, like when people see him, they want pictures, and the second question is, or there's two questions: Minister, can I have a picture? Second question: when is the race coming to South Africa? And what he's done today, I think he's just put that framework and structure to make sure that it's possible for us to possibly have a F1 race from 2027.
Now, the owner of Kyalami, Mr. Toby Fenter, assured the nation that should Kyalami Grand Prix be granted the honor of hosting, the track itself will be ready by the end of 2025.
The question was, how far are we from getting F1 status? We're 90% there without lifting or doing anything. This is not my opinion. This is what Apex Circuit Design International accredited circuit designers, as you heard, they did Miami and many other tracks. We're 90% there, but the last 10% will be done next year. What has already been done is a plan, a detailed plan of what we have to do and how we have to do it. Kyalami, as you all know, is a viable business entity in its own right without Formula One, and it's very busy. So our job is to fit in the construction and not disrupt our business activities. But rest assured, by the end of next year, Kyalami will be F1 certified. Thank you, Minister.
And that's where we're going to have to leave it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.